Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video, let's discuss about entity unique identifiers. Let's get started. Each entity is identifiable using two system properties. One is ID, another one is identifier. What is the difference in these two is ID is system assigned. That means users will not have any control to assign this, and this of data type is long, whereas identifier is user assigned. I mean we can assign the identifier, but it should be unique enough for each entity. But if we leave it, system also will assign it. And this data type is string. Let's see a couple of scenarios where we can use identifiers. IDs are pretty common, we use it across, but where and all we use identifiers. Let's get back to our solution. So let me create one entity so that we can see how this and all created. But before that, let's assign an identifier. So here this code we already seen yesterday, the previous video, that how to create an entity, but we never assigned an identifier, so it automatically assigned by system. But in this, let's assign identifier. So if you see asset dot identifier, you can notice here, let's just go to definition. So you see here string identifier, it is get and set, but whereas entity the ID is get only, not assigned. You cannot assign, so but it should be unique enough. So let me assign maybe some random number. You can assign some GUID actually. Unique identifier 1. Okay, so rest all is same, like not touching anything and using some Unsplash image. Let's run this. If this identifier is already exist for some other entity, then system, I mean the code will throw an exception that it cannot create an entity because this identifier is already exist. So let it create. Yeah, it created 34092, that's fine. I'm just refreshing here. I already set it to date created order by. So it created some sample asset from SDK. Let me open this so that we can observe that system properties. Okay, correct number 34092. 34092. Let me close this. I'm on mobile data, that's why it is a little slow. So you can notice here, so system is ID is generated, auto generated, then this identifier is which we have assigned unique identifier 1. So if we try to do same unique identifier, then it will throw an exception, and if not, let's see the code itself. There are like few things I can explain. So in general, we need anytime we can fetch an entity by passing either identifier or ID, because both uniquely identifies. But the problem is identifiers are IDs are automatically generated. We will not know which ID it is to get the entity. But identifiers are like, we would have some theory behind it, some planning behind it, how we can set the identifiers. Not only asset, not talking about mainly assets, it's talking about the custom entities. So for custom entities, identifiers we usually assign it for various reasons. So in that cases, we can pass identifier and get back the entity. So just see this code base. We already have like content repository, which is like standard is the DAM part of it. Digital asset management we are uploading, and final life cycle we are set it to approved. But we need IDs for this identifier. So this is an identifier here. If you mouse over here, I'm not sure if it is visible, but you need to get the identifier here. So I mean, sorry, you need to pass the identifier. So that's what it is asking for. Once you pass the identifier, you will be able to get the your standard content repository entity, and you can have an ID. So this is one of the use case we will have. So anytime, so in these things we know, right? I mean, which is the identifier. So it is a standard. If we go for other, it would be other. And here final life cycle, if it is approved, submitted, or created, or rejected. So these states we know. I mean, these identifiers, but we do not know the IDs exactly. So we can pass this and fetch it. So this is one of the commonly used one. Similar lines, let's see how we can use it for the Excel uploads. I'm not going in deep of Excel uploads. I mean, the importing the assets and custom entities, but I just put an example here. So if you notice, there are two entities here. One is asset, obviously the asset which are like which are mandatory fields. So which is title, asset type, final life cycle, content repository, and file. So these are all mandatory fields which are supposed to be sent. And identifier, we can send it or we can leave it blank. If we leave it, then it will auto generate. Not a string. I believe it was a GUID. It adds. So I left it here. And look at the custom entity. So custom entity, maybe this is one of the entity we have, like it has title, summary, maybe some service jobs kind of a entity it is. So it has a title, summary, what is a job, and what is a summary of the job, and what is a job number. So in this case, so this we uploaded it first, but we need to second Excel upload is asset entity. So when asset entity is uploading, we know that this test file one should be mapped to some custom entity out of this custom entity, but which row, how do we know, how can we map it? So this is where the identifiers come in. So we can generate this identifier because this is a user defined. I mean, we can put it, but it should be uniquely identifiable for each row. So in general, we do generate it based on whatever the combination of column values which can uniquely identifies it. So kind of a composite key, you can say. So we can append something and maybe uniquely identify a number we can take, or maybe club both of two column values and do it. So however we generate, we would know the identifiers. Now it is easy for us to put it the identifiers here. So when we upload this second, I mean, we can upload the custom entity first. I mean, we will upload the first custom entity. Then second, when we come to asset entities, we would upload this at last. While uploading, we already know identifier one. So the relation already would be made. So I'm assuming here, this is the relation is 1-to-1, custom entity to asset. Custom entity is a parent, asset is a children, and mapping is 1-to-1 or 1-to-many, it's whatever it is. So here you would get the mapping like that. This is the most common scenario we use it for Excel imports, because assets are not only the entities we work with. We would need, based on the business use case, we would create a lot of custom entities, and these custom entities will have some relation with the assets. So how do we maintain, and how do we map, and how do we upload it? This is where we use identifiers extensively. And just to show you the last piece, one piece, I already explained about this asset type, final life cycle. Let me just quickly show you that in the sandbox also. So here I am into taxonomy, which is like final life cycle and asset type and content repository or taxonomies. So let's just go to final life cycle. These are system created. So let it load. Yeah, so notice here how many values are there: approved, archived, created, deleted, and all. We are looking at approved, right? So this is what it is. So we are looking at mainly identifier. So final lifecycle status approved. So this is where you can see the identifier. This can uniquely identify this taxonomy. That's what we are doing in the code. That's a quick overview of ID and identifier. Identifier plays a lot of important role on while all these imports and while fetching different entities from the system. So that's all for this video. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.